I'm releasing a short a day, and it'll go on for as long as I want it to, because I said so. But hi, I'm Doiti Etok. This video is meant as a bit of a self-reflection for me, and possibly also something for aspiring creators to see some of the pitfalls, ups and downs, and whatever of my journey as somebody with some editing experience, but who's never really been good at social media, shorts, or anything, tries to just learn and improve. And I also apologize that there isn't any editing in this video for you guys. Instead, it's just sort of a rant. Why? Because I don't have that much time, and what I do, I want to dedicate to shorts. In the future, I might compile all of this and actually edit it together, sort of why I'm doing this. But because this is the first one of these videos, it's going to be a little bit longer, because I also feel like I should talk a little bit about me, what I already knew coming into this, where I am, and all of my journey up to this point that's relevant to this. So I've, from the beginning, from the beginning, sorry, I'm like looking in places. From the beginning, I've been creating some small content here and there on the internet since around 2007 or 2008, nothing big, but my first ever edited video, a long form video, was it was sort of like an animated music video where I filmed scenes across multiple multiplayer sessions of Left 4 Dead, and then spliced them down, spliced them to the song Down with the Sickness by Disturbed, because I felt that it fit, and of course I did. I was a teenager at the time. We got problems. Unfortunately, I didn't have a YouTube account at that time, so a friend uploaded it for me instead, and from what I remember, it did decently well, but eventually got taken down due to copyright. I don't remember a ton about the process, just that I recorded footage for it for like multiple days, but I did enjoy making it. Now, with that said, I didn't continue to make actual content on the internet until probably 2011. Why? Because we had one family computer that everybody shared, and I just didn't really have the ability to do stuff on that. And on top of that, something that would come back to bite me starting 2011 was our ISP wasn't that good. Our bandwidth was pretty bad. I grew up and lived in areas that not like the most urban, so the internet was pretty bad. So in 2011, I started streaming on a little known site called Twitch, which started at the time. I streamed StarCraft, League, really whatever I wanted, but bandwidth was pretty bad. I didn't like the visual quality and things. I just couldn't keep quality up while doing everything. So eventually I just sort of stopped. And then at the same time, well, I didn't stop. It's just sort of like ups and downs. I stopped streaming a lot. And then in 2014, I streamed a little bit. 2016, I streamed for a few months. All of that. But at the same time as that, in 2012, I started doing stuff on YouTube with a pretty bad capture card that I had gotten at the time. I did stuff in like Naruto, a couple tutorial videos in like Minecraft, things like that, and those did okay. I enjoyed the process of like creating, but I didn't really edit anything because I didn't have the ability to really edit anything. And the same thing, quality from the capture card was pretty bad, so I mostly stopped doing it. Still did some things here or there, but never did it that much. And then in late 2019, things started to change as I started streaming again for probably the most consistent time period of my life. So in 2019, a friend got me into the game Ocarina of Time Randomizer as a speedrunner, and I played that for a few years, but I started streaming it in 2019, very late 2019, like December. I think technically the first run was in November, but like December 2019. And then by mid-2020, I picked up a VTuber model instead of using like these random images from anime to portray me, because I was a faceless, I still am a faceless creator, but I figured people would connect more with a model than a voice. So, you know, that's what I did. And by June 2020, I was able to get affiliate on Twitch, and this was mostly down to the communities that I found myself in the time, not really because of my ability to create stuff on social media or become known, because even right now, I think I have no social media skills. Then I had even less. Then something relevant for this video. In late 2022, like early 2023, I started experimenting by putting some gameplay clips up on like YouTube, TikTok, that sort of thing. And these were just some random clips, random moments that came up. Some of these did okay in the algorithm, most did not do well. Then in late 2023, I decided that I was going to make a little bit of a change to my shorts. So instead of just making them, I wanted to post them as a way to help people get to know me. Which meant I had to jump in, learn a few editing tricks, and I started actually taking stories that I told on my stream and re-scripting them and re-recording them for shorts. And again, some of these did decently well. And within a week of doing that, not releasing like every day, but releasing as often as I could make them, I went from like 200 to 300 views per short to well over 2,000 on YouTube. I don't have the numbers for TikTok right now because I don't have that account anymore. I shut it down after a bit during a gap when I wasn't making stuff. But yeah, for about 3 months, I want to say, I kept doing this as often as I could, but eventually life and the lack of any original plan or goal with it, and just a lack of time, got in the way, and I stopped doing nearly as many highly edited shorts and went back to just sort of every once in a while I would release a clip, or every once in a while I would release a short. And my views per short by April, literally like weeks after stopping, everything was down back below 500 views. I think at that time my best short would have been over 8,000 views. So a little bit of a drop, just a little bit. And then I guess between 2024 and June of 2026, so basically over that 2-year period, I probably released a couple hundred shorts. It was varying levels of effort, varying levels of success for all of them. Most of them were like short gameplay things I just did. Some of them were like VTuber tips or like scripted content. My biggest video had over 25,000 views, and it was basically, I believe it was about bits versus donathon, like donations on Twitch. It was just tip stuff like that. Some of them over 10,000 views for talking about like nicknames, things like that. Just random stuff whenever I wanted to do it. But yeah, nothing really stuck. Most of my shorts still have very, very little views, and my editing and such still generally very bad for all of them. But then we jump into June 2026, and my birthday, my affiliate anniversary, all on June 10th, believe it or not, the same day. And this was my 6-year anniversary of me getting affiliate on Twitch, and my views have gone from an average of 3.3 to like an average of 4.2 in 6 years. So not the greatest. But I decided that for the first time in over 2 years, I wanted to try my hands at actually learning to make short form content and actually trying to improve, and I wanted to be intentional about it. And there were 2 things that kicked off this spark. The first was on June 4th, literally a few days before, I released a short in Neverness to Everness where I showed off my amazing gacha luck by failing to get a character 3 times in a row in the dumbest way possible in the gacha rolls. It doesn't matter how the gacha system actually works. It just matters that it did a thing. And that short got 1,000 views on TikTok, over 1,000 views on YouTube, and on Instagram, which is a channel that I had never gotten more than like 300 views on a short on, or a reel, I guess, because I just don't understand Instagram. I don't understand any of them, but Instagram is like the one that I understand the least. On Instagram, it went from 1,000 day 1 to 2,000 to 5,000 to 10,000 to now, less than a month later, it's over 40,000. And it's still growing. And early on, I was just like, okay. Obviously, I'm not like shadow banned or anything. I'm just not making great content. So I could try to do better in order to try to grow. I could try to do better in order to improve myself. So come a week later, I should also say there was another VTuber who inspired me to actually want to try this, and that was Phlox. I believe Phlox Labs is one of their channels. I know they have 2 channels, but Phlox did a whole thing where they released a short per day every year, and I believe for the last few months it was mostly tutorial content, but still, I went through some of their videos, their Q&As about the process, and I thought, And like they went over the difficulties, the hard parts, the challenges, what they had to work on, what they improved, the ups and downs. But as I watched it, I was like, well, it sounds difficult, but in my place, like where I am right now, it's something that I think I could do even with all the challenges. So June 10th, after my birthday stream, I sat down and I went through 2 or 3 of my streams and I just clipped as many things as I could. I cut out some gaps, but everything basically was just clips and subtitles, and it was 14 of them, which gave me 2 weeks. And I just posted. I posted those every day. And then I tried to figure out places that I could improve while I was posting those every day. And that was basically it. So all of my clips from June 11th to June 21st come from, I believe, 3 streams. A Mario Kart stream, birthday stream, and a Donkey Kong Bonanza stream that I did the morning of June 11th for people who missed the birthday stream. That was it. There was no major editing. Nothing. And I guess this is where we also can talk about how I did. So for my first 2 videos, less than 200 views on everything. They were both Star Fox demo videos. Neither did that well. They just weren't good. My third video, similar story everywhere, but YouTube started picking it up. Over 600 views on YouTube. The same quality. So it wasn't like anything had really improved. On day 4, we saw my first jump on Instagram, over 1,000 views on Instagram, over 1,000 views on YouTube. TikTok still didn't care. And that was something, that video sparked something. It was a little bit different. And it proved that there was something in that video that was different than the others. And we'll come back to that in a second because it ties into another video. So day 5, terrible video, did really bad on Instagram and TikTok, but it still did better on YouTube, over 1,600 views. Which I think shows that YouTube cares more about the consistency and making sure you're doing something over and over rather than, just throwing everything out there. And then day 6 is where my best video release over this entire period came in. It was a short clip of me failing a trick in Mario Kart 8 that I used to know by heart. So, when Mario Kart World came out, I stopped playing Mario Kart 8 altogether. And on June 5th, it was the 1-year anniversary. So I think on the 9th or something, or around that point, I don't have the exact time in front of me. I replayed Mario Kart 8 for a stream. And one of the clips was me just failing a trick that I used to know by heart. And I failed it like terribly. And I threw that up. 5,000 views on YouTube, over 1,900 on Instagram, and over 4,500 on TikTok. And looking at this versus the others and day 4, the thing that I noticed is day 4 and day 6's shorts had sort of a setup at the beginning, whether in text or speak or something that appeared. People could understand it very easily, and then it had some sort of payoff after it. So sort of a formula. Was it executed well? No, it wasn't. It wasn't edited at all. These were just how the clips happened to have happened. But nothing major came from them. Like, nothing major happened in them. It was just this idea, very simple idea of hook plus payoff, with probably some extra fluff that didn't need to be there. And that was the whole thing. So I decided at that point that the one thing that I wanted to work on was hooks. Hooks, and try to trim some of the fat. So I ended up taking a couple of the clips from the original 3 things, and I just created hooks for them. And I moved stuff around in the videos, trimmed some of the fat, and I was like, okay, this is the new baseline for what I want to do for stuff in the future. And I slowly started to try to improve one thing a day while also trying to work around the fact that I don't have a ton of time each day to work on clips. That's why I was working with gameplay clips. They're generally pretty fast to knock out. So yeah, I started working on one thing a day, and you guys still haven't seen any of that, because at this point when I'm recording this, it's been a week. Yeah, a week since the first video that really took off, and I was trying to edit 1 to 2 clips a day in the background while that was happening. As I said, I had 14 days of content beforehand. I had, after re-editing stuff and then cutting one because I just don't think it was that good, I had 11 days of total content before I would start showing my future work. And we're at that point. So right now, as we sit here, I have 7 of the 10 shorts that I wanted to have at this point done. Part of that is I decided to incorporate a couple scripted shorts as well as gameplay things, and the scripted ones just took so much more time. Part of that is I just don't have a lot of time, and part of that is honestly just a waxing and waning of any real motivation. And we'll talk about that. Over the first week and a half, my biggest trouble has been motivating myself and actually doing stuff. And also, I'm apparently much slower at learning things than I thought, because I'm still struggling. Like, I wanted to be editing sound effects into shorts. I haven't started messing around with sound effects really and all of that. But I'm still stuck on just titling and thumbnails, which we haven't even seen a short with thumbnails in it yet, and I've been struggling with it for this entire week. And it's just been eating away at my time while I try to learn anything with that. I'm not a creative person. It's pretty obvious to me that I'm not the most creative person, and it's very hard for me to learn these things. But I do think I can learn them. And then, yeah, the scripted shorts, I've always enjoyed making the scripted content, because I feel like I have complete control from the beginning, and I can just tweak things, edit things to be like they are in my head. But I also, because I wanted to get these out quickly, I've been doing the scripted content very quickly, so I'm not the most proud of even what I've done yet, but hey, part of this is just improving, right? So yeah, we're at the end of, I guess, week 2. This is my first real jumping off point for the data, and at least before the first changes begin to show themselves. So as we go into week 3, as we begin to release stuff that I actually worked on beyond the first day, I will say, yeah, I'm pretty nervous of what's to come up. What if, like, all the what ifs are in my head, like, what if I went down the wrong path? What if I just didn't do good enough? What if I'm just not funny enough or good enough? Or what if my ideas are just bad? And I guess you could say that this would be the point where it's possible to quit at this exact point, and like nobody would notice. I've done random times where I've released 2 weeks of shorts straight, and nobody has commented on it. Nobody's cared. But at this point, I do want to say that next week, whether improvement or crash, I do want to see at least where the beginning of my work takes me, and I do want to continue improving. I do. And I do also want to say that I think my biggest struggle, my biggest downside right now, is that I just don't have a support system who really gets shorts. Like, I don't have friends that I could talk about. I don't have anything like that. Who I feel comfortable talking about this with. I've talked to some people about stuff in the past, and they've always been like super positive about everything, but you don't want positive. I'm looking at numbers now. Like, I want people who would be no nonsense, who would actually help improve, and to partially like understand the process. And I'm not good at reaching out. I'm not good at anything like that. And I'm the small guy. So Yeah, I think that's been one of the biggest parts, besides just trying to schedule things in my life and work around things and trying to have times to get this done. And I'm already behind, like I said. Uh, but we'll hope this will go well. If you're joining me on this journey, guys, if you're here now, thank you so much. I personally hope it goes well. If you're joining me from the future, I either succeeded or I really, really failed, and there's really no way to tell at this point. Either way, this hasn't been like the most glamorous start. Oh, and by the way, if you're joining me and you just found this video randomly, this is my blog channel. This is not the channel that I would do the shorts on. This is just a place for me to rant about things, and so I'm ranting about things. You'd find this all on my main channel if you're looking for it and if you want to see how it goes. But it hasn't been the most glamorous start. I'm a little surprised that specifically YouTube seems to be putting me over 1,000 views each time. TikTok and Instagram, it's on a video by video basis still, and we're gonna see how hooks play out in the next week, because that's the area that I'm mostly focused on, was hooks and then a couple very light editing tricks. And then I gotta figure out what I have to work on this week still, which I'm guessing it's gonna be more titles and thumbnails, and then hopefully we get the sound effects. And I started doing a couple things with audio and music choice, specifically for a couple scripted shorts, but I do want to get better with music and then cuts and things. But that's where I am now. Thanks for joining me. Sorry about the lack of editing on this. If you just like hearing me rant, yeah, I'm here, and I do stream on Twitch, which is where I get some of these from. But thanks, and I hope this goes well.